I'm excited to announce that Cycle 15 of the Comprehensive Diploma Program in Evolutionary Astrology is now underway. This program is designed for mastery, particularly in chart analysis. Now, what is evolutionary astrology? It's an approach that identifies the soul journey in the chart. And once you have that spiritual perspective, you can answer every practical questions from relationships to vocation, health, whatever it is. The soul journey tells us why we are here. And astrology provides that map, that guideline. It's incredibly helpful and can transform lives. So the program extends over 2.5 to 3 years, depending on the track that you're choosing. I'm going to talk about that soon. Now, I've identified 4 main phases of study in astrology. The first one is understanding all the building blocks. What is a planet? What is a house? And what is an eclipse? You learn that from books, from some classes, maybe online material. But then comes the second phase, and that's the synthesis. How do all these components, all the ingredients come together to create something that works, to bring the chart to life? And this is where most astrology students struggle, because you cannot learn that from books. It requires supervised practice. This is where a course and a curriculum that is so extensive comes into play, where you get all the foundations. We cover the material from A to Z. So you have the theory, but then we work on practice, supervised practice, where you integrate the material together with me and with the group of students, learning from each other. The third phase that is critical and unfortunately often absent is learning about consulting skills and ethical consideration, which basically entails how we unpack the chart, how we can communicate the insights in a way that is helpful, that makes sense, that can be understood by our clients. Because if we don't have those consulting skills, we can have a lot of astrology knowledge, but we can cause harm. We can say the wrong things and basically, cause misunderstandings. So it's critical now that schools and study program include a whole section on consulting skills, ethical consideration, proper boundaries, so that a consultation where we touch on some of the most vulnerable and sensitive things in someone's life are created in a safe and productive space. Then comes the fourth phase. Once you have mastered the 3 first phases, it's direct experience where you're going to learn from your clients. You're going to learn from living astrology. I will say one of the motivations for me to continue doing readings is not only because it touches people and it can help and support people in their development, it gives answers, but it is also to test my own knowledge, to make sure that I continue learning because I learn from what the client shares and the feedback that I get. So this program has 4 tracks. The first one is foundational. If you just want to have the basics, it's available for both absolute beginners, but also more seasoned astrologers who have studied the bits and pieces, but maybe they went ahead a little too quickly and they lack the foundation. There are many gaps in their understanding. So this foundational track basically provides you all the building blocks to know how to piece some of these first ingredients together and get the vocabulary and basically plant deep roots. The second track is called the soul track, and that is focused on the soul journey, but it's more of a self study process. It's not as big a commitment as the following tracks. So if you want to dive deep, but are not ready to fully commit to an extensive program, this can be a good fit for you. The third track is called the Royal Track, and that's where you get the whole curriculum, A to Z, beginners to advanced analysis, mastery. However, you don't need in this track to submit assignment. So you participate in live classes, you study at your own pace. The program that contains both um, ongoing material and live sessions. So in the Royal Track, you're more of a passive participant. You don't need to submit papers, and it's a wonderful way to learn all that there is to learn. But then comes the Mastery Track for those who wish to become professionals. So here you go through the whole curriculum, the practice session, but you are actively involved in the study, which basically means you have to submit papers and you undergo supervised chart analysis. And this gives me an opportunity to evaluate where you're at with your study and help you advance and master the material. So it can give you at the end of the process a seal of approval that you are indeed ready for professional practice. Every one of us, it can be at a different stage, but one of the virtues of this program is you have mentorship, with a seasoned astrologer. This has been going on for 25 years that I've been teaching this material and developing it to an extraordinary body of knowledge. And if you resonate with this material, if you've seen me talk, if you follow some of the videos, you know that we're touching the soul. And this is exactly my point. We cannot do soul work if we are not going through the necessary steps. We have to give all our time and resources to do things responsibly. Some of you may question, why become an astrologer? First of all, it's meaningful work. You change people's lives. And it's flexible work. You can work from home, from anywhere on the planet, as long as you have an internet connection. So it provides meaning, flexibility, and you work with people who are seekers.